Now, the second piece of legislation, a resolution to grant corporations the right to vote. I think this is really interesting, and to provide some background on the legislation, it's a constitutional amendment, which is important to know. It's not a bill, it's not a resolution. You can't make arguments on constitutionality. And it enables individuals, most likely the business owner, to vote in all U.S. elections on behalf of the company. Excuse me, not all U.S. elections, only elections in municipal or federal elections. So municipal or federal, that's when the owner of a company or the representative of a company, like a vice president, a CFO who's been given authority by his company, can cast a vote in these elections on behalf of the company. So, what is the problem and how does this legislation solve it? First, this bill identifies in its whereas clauses the increasingly powerful shift in case law that suggests that corporations should have similar rights as average Americans. Corporations have the right to speak based on the Citizens v. United case. They can alter elections by investing in election campaigns, and this right of theirs has been defended as an aspect of freedom of speech. Also, corporations can sue and be sued. These are rights normally only given to American individuals, American citizens. So the legislation believes that the Supreme Court hasn't gone far enough, and that even more rights should be allocated to corporations to enable them to fully participate in our democracy. So with the passage of this legislation, not only can they influence elections by exercising their supposed right to free speech by investing in political candidates or super PACs, but they can also literally cast a vote in elections. So, what are the positive impacts of passing this legislation? Firstly, if corporations can actually have their opinion heard by voting, they may be less inclined to try to alter the course of an election by investing in campaigns, by donating huge sums of money to these campaigns. I think a lot of the reason you could argue that corporations invest so heavily in super PACs is that they worry that their interests aren't being represented in Congress. This legislation gives them the literal ability to have their voices heard through the right to vote. So you can make the argument that they're going to be less inclined or less worried about making sure they invest so heavily in elections because they actually have the right to vote. Additionally, corporations have a right to vote, should have a right to vote, and we're expanding their corporate freedoms. Maybe you want to argue that corporations deserve more freedom, that they should be able to participate more fully in our democracy. The impact of this is expanding democratic rights to corporations. I know many people don't believe that corporations should receive democratic rights. Maybe you do. Maybe you think it's a good thing. Maybe the impacts exist and that we're making our democracy stronger by ensuring that all entities within the United States have their voice heard. Additionally, it could promote economic growth by giving business owners a more powerful lobby in the federal government. So, you could contend that currently corporations do not have enough power in Congress, that they need more power, and that if their views are better represented, if they have more influence in Congress, that legislation will be more business friendly. It will err on the side of less regulation, less taxes implemented on business, and this could mean a more business-friendly environment in the United States. Again, definitely you need evidence to prove this. And lastly, and I think this is really interesting, it enables small businesses to also participate in the democratic process. So currently, small businesses are definitely out-influenced in the status quo because big corporations can invest so heavily in election campaigns, whereas small businesses really don't have the capital to do the same. This legislation would sort of equalize the playing field because now each business owner is allocated one vote to represent their business. So a big business and a small business, they're both on the same playing field, this equal playing field in terms of how many votes can be cast, because a small business owner has the same opportunity to cast his or her one vote, just like a big business owner has his or her opportunity to cast their one vote. Okay, so now what are some negative impacts to passing this legislation? First, corporations are made up of many people, and this legislation ensures that, or provides that one individual, the president or the representative of a corporation, can cast a vote on the corporation's behalf. So why is this a bad thing? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. that if you're in a company, a major company that employs thousands of people, and you're not the president of that company, you want to make sure that no individual is able to represent your views other than you. You should be the arbiter of like what you believe in, who you support. By enabling corporations to vote and therefore enabling presidents of these corporations to vote, we're creating a situation where companies are aligned in the election process. They can endorse certain candidates. They can vote for certain candidates. And this is problematic because by extension, it seems like the employees are also endorsing and voting for these candidates, even if that's not their intention. That's problematic, and I think the impact is the limitation of individual voting and democratic rights.